Hey besties! Welcome back to Sip and Chat, where we spill the tea on life lessons. I'm Anna.
And I'm Teresa.
And welcome to Communicating with Care.
This is the episode for today. This is going to be about how to communicate without triggering.
Yes. Sorry, y'all. I'm in sinus season, so I will stop breathing for a little bit there because I choke. I know, right now I was like,
I know CPR, but I don't want to use it.
All right.
Lord.
As y'all know, we have been talking about, relationships. We've been talking about, how we communicate, what sets us off, how fight starts. But the key thing about all these things, about, building a relationship, about, breaking fight cycles and everything, it all comes down to communication. And we need to know how to better communicate so we can have a better outcome. Because communication is key in every aspect of your life, no matter what it is. Yes, we have triggering parts, as we've talked about, in our past episodes and everything, and how they can, sometimes fumble how we can get stuff across or how it can make you feel about things. But it's communication. Like, people can't read minds, so they need to know what the trigger is, what specifically, it is that they said or done that made you kind of implode.
Yeah. And a trigger is like an emotion that you have tied that makes you have a reaction that makes you feel like the problem is bigger than what it is. So usually those triggers can look like past hurt, things that we have talked about, like how trauma in the past can hurt you and make you act a certain way. If you haven't seen It's Not the Dishes, check it out. It's really good. It will lead up to this one. But yes, and then also feeling disrespected, not feeling heard, childhood patterns that you've seen. Also, like generational curses. I feel like you don't know what you're dealing with from the past that can make you feel a certain way. Exhaustion, pregnancy, and I can speak from postpartum and pregnancy at this time.
I can speak from work and school. Okay.
But yes, exhaustion can make you have these emotions that maybe aren't really that real or aren't that big of a problem. And I feel like my emotions are starting to regulate in a sense, even though I'm pregnant. But I feel like
it's over that first trimester, I think.
Yeah. I was just like arguing about things that didn't even matter, or like having feelings about things that weren't really there, or having I would tell my husband, I'd be like, don't you feel like this person was trying to say this and this with that? He's like, you're reading too much between the lines. You're being emotional. You're thinking too much about it. And I'm like, you're right. But because of my exhaustion, because of how I'm feeling, my body doesn't want to, it responds in a way because it doesn't want to tolerate anything.
Yes. I don't know if y'all have been watching, our Bible verses, and especially this week's weekly advice. It talks about choosing peace over war more than anything. But what I reference to is always reflecting, pausing, slowing down. Because sometimes, like she said, exhaustion can leak into different moments of like your life.
Yeah,
like, it's crazy. Like, sometimes I don't even know if I'm really mad at my husband about, what just happened at the house, or really is it what's been going on all day, or the tiredness that I've come home from work, that in that moment, my mind, my soul is just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it's why I'm always like, reflect, because it's crazy how much you will see that. Yeah.
We're quick to judge. And that's like, I think that's the main number one cause of triggering or triggers is what did I just say? My mind went blank. The pregnancy. But when you trigger people, I feel like, I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going.
But They
Oh,
no,
like the crickets.
no, I feel like it's just like she was saying, it's just when you trigger certain people, you never know like exactly what you're, actually gonna leak into.
Yeah.
It could be that they had a hard day at work, or it could be it's been a hard day at home.
Yeah.
Because that happens too. Sometimes, girl, I have my days off, and I feel like my days off was much worse than me being at work. Because the laundry didn't do things right. I didn't get everything else that I wanted to get done. Last minute things came above, and it's like I'm tired.
Yeah. And I feel like exhaustion also, it brings a whole nother world that's not real.
Yes.
Because I feel like because you don't want to deal with those things, you see things that are not there, and you see things that in 10x mode where it just kind of bulges in your face, and you're just like, get out of my face, like I can't deal with this right now. But I do feel like I can speak from pregnancy, where I just don't feel like doing anything. Postpartum also, like you just feel like you just want to recover and build a bond with your baby, not having to worry about anything else. And honestly, things that matter even don't matter.
Yeah.
At that point.
No, like being honest,
like,
yes.
I feel like the triggers that you have, or you don't feel respected, you feel unheard. I feel like in those moments, I feel like oftentimes we shut down and we're just like, you know what? I know this might be important, but we can come back a later time because I can't deal with the emotion.
And see, and that's the thing that people don't realize until you communicate the way that you're feeling and the stress that you're like, you don't have to. I always tell people, especially like sometimes at work, I tell my coworkers they're and I tell you I need 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. Like I don't need you coming at me with anything else, because it used to be that I was coming in from another job in the morning. So sometimes things would go really bad at that job in the morning, and then I'm coming here. But I wanted to make sure that when I did my job here, I wasn't, just giving you
like carrying over.
Yeah. So I needed a moment to kind of gather all my thoughts together and kind of be like, okay, you're somewhere else. What happened there happened there. There's nothing you can do about it. What's done is done, and you need to suck it up, put a smile on your face, and just, go about your day. So I'd always tell her, I'm gonna just give me those 5 minutes. Like that's all I need. And she was always really good at reading whenever I needed the moments. And then she knows that when I would come up like, hey, good morning, she knew that okay, now I can approach with whatever I needed, or a question that I had.
But don't even look at me.
But it took that communication from me from the get-go to tell her at the beginning of the year, and tell her, be like, hey, this is what happens sometimes in the mornings. It's not you. You're not the problem. I'm not mad at you. It might come across as that. I might answer it in a way like, don't feel that, and I'm sorry if I do. Because at the end of the day, it's not that person's fault for the emotions that you're feeling. So I would tell her, like, I am sorry if I'm snippy with you, or if you feel attacked, or you feel like, I'm out of line.
You were just triggered from past things that happened.
But I'm like, but just give me those 5 minutes. And she knew. And I feel like, but it was that communication between me and her that made that, because we worked really well together. She did retire, and I was so sad to see her go. And now that my new coworker that I do have, because I've learned with her how to communicate, I've been able to carry that over with her, and we have a pretty good communication as well, that we tell each other, like, it's like I tell her, you don't have to tell me in depth what it is. Just, if you need a moment, just tell me, it's okay. Like, we're all humans, we sometimes need those 5 minutes, 3 minutes bathroom breaks that, I need to kind of like, oof.
Sometimes I needed an hour at my old jobs. I was like, yeah, I need an hour. I just need to meditate on life, and then we'll come back and we'll be all good.
And I feel like it's the same way in your relationship. Like, if you don't communicate with your husband or your wife or your kids that, I need a moment, because even kids understand that.
Yeah, how you feel.
Like, give mom 5 minutes. Like, calm down.
No, I told my boys, I said, boys, I need a nap. Literally, they looked at me and they got down and started playing, and I took a nap. And whenever I said, just 5 minutes, okay? And after like 3 minutes, Mama, I was like, yeah, thank you so much for those 3 minutes. Yeah, it was everything. But I do think that even my kids at 1 year old, they understand when you feel triggered, and you can read that off of them when they feel triggered. Like a mom has that connection with their child, and it's like that with a spouse or even with like a sibling. Like you can read that off of them too. Oh, that person just needs some time.
Yeah.
So I think the most important thing here is really getting to know that person so that you can learn what triggers them. Because oftentimes it's not you, like you say, it's not you, but it's the wounds that you carry. And that person may have not carried it, but you can act a certain way because of how you felt. So there were some days where I came home from work and I was like in stress mode, or either my husband comes home from work and he's in like stressful mode, and we can tend to act out a character, but it's not because of what we did towards each other, but it's just of what happened during the day.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to communicate that effectively so that we can like watch your, like we said before, watch your tone.
Yes.
Don't make ugly facial expressions. They're like, you don't know nothing and I know everything. Because we can be prideful.
Yeah.
We can be prideful and not want to hear that person out.
And don't try to reason their reason. Like, I hate when people try to reason their reason on me. Like, you believe I feel this way because of this. Like, don't do that. Yeah. Like, because sometimes it might be the complete opposite. I still remember there was a time where I was having like a what's it called? I was having an argument with my boss, and I still remember that she had said something to me. She said, "You probably feel this way because, you know, school and stuff, but I went to school too, and I know how stressful it was." And I was like, that has nothing to do with what I'm feeling right now. I said, it's not for you to know or anybody else. I'm like, but my brother right now is in the hospital, and I'm going through a lot. So I was, in that moment, I didn't mean to kind of like just cut her off dry, but it made me so mad, the fact that she thought the reason behind me. And I was like, no, like, don't assume something, because you can really upset a person. Well, you can really upset me. I know that part.
I can understand that, but I do try to, like, the way I go about not really assuming, but asking if this is why, is really asking, hey, I know that you are going through this and this and this. Is this the reason
but
why?
But see, that's the thing. You ask.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, there's a difference between asking and imposing something that someone might not, you know, be like. Because in all honesty, y'all never know if someone could have just lost a family member. And because I'm very, like, I'm one of those that I'm very private with certain things. And you won't know until I want you to know.
Yeah. There's a lot of Karens out there, but there's people who are going through real things.
Yeah.
And I think even Karens have a reason why they act as Karens. Yes. I don't know why they're called Karens. I know a Karen, she's so sweet. She's not mean.
I know. Most of the people that are Karen, and I'm like, oh, you really don't fit the description.
Yeah, right. And I was like, I don't know, but sorry, Karen. I don't know why your name is thrown up there as a bad image, but yeah, there's a lot of people like that out there. But I feel like even they have something that they went through, something that triggers them. People aren't the way they are because they were born that way.
Yeah.
It's something that triggered it and wounded them to be able to become the person they are today.
Yeah, and some people, they self-inflict. Like, I have had friends that, you know, they just self-inflict. Like, there is nothing that I can say that will help. So sometimes that's why I say, like I was saying, you know, even in like our verses or like our weekly advice, sometimes it's just better to remain silent. Because no matter what comes out of your mouth, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. When someone wants to self-inflict, they will self-inflict. When someone wants to feel what they want to feel, they will. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is just be that soundboard and kind of walk away. And most of the time when you do that, you tend to kind of like put out fires that way, because you're not giving it a chance to keep fueling. You're just kind of like, okay,
And
I'm
I
over
feel
it.
like when a person has just had that moment where they feel triggered, is when they most can just
Yes.
they can just explode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important in those moments to read those moments and be like, okay, this person really needs a timeout. Because I do try to understand where that person's coming from. I'm like, oh well, you're not that happy today, are you? Like, I'm like, so I'm just like trying to understand
Yep.
like what's going on. But then again, sometimes it's not about understanding. It's just about being there for that
Yeah.
person and just, like you said, just being quiet. Knowing that person, I think that's what it takes, that communication of being like, especially when the person is blowing up.
Yes.
Like, just like, I need those minutes, like you would say, if you don't get those 5 minutes before starting a new job, what if you blow up on that person and then they just...
And that's one
go
thing
off
that I feel like I said, sometimes work has shaped me to understand how to better communicate and better respond. Because I cannot respond to a child the way that I would respond to an adult. And a child will not understand my response the way that an adult will. Like, an adult
Yeah.
can brush me off and be like, you know what, I'll deal with you later because whatever you're going through, I don't want none of that.
Yeah.
But a child will shut down. So I never want to be the cause of a child shutting down, because they don't understand, like, you're really not the problem. It's just, your teacher here is just going insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's funny because I tell Hugo sometimes, like, there are kids in my class that I feel like they have a really good sense of empathy, or they pick up really good on emotional cues. Like,
Yeah.
really, really good for their age. I have one in my class right now, and I feel like every time that they can tell that when it's one of them days where it's been, because sometimes as a teacher it is a rough day, they will come up to me and just literally out of nowhere just, I love you.
Oh.
And it's like, in that moment, it kind of like makes me realize, oh, okay.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I have a good day. I'll have a good day.
Yeah. But it's funny because I feel like they pick up on that emotional cue at a very young age. And I'm like, oh,
They do.
Like, okay.
I know there's studies out there that say that a kid don't know. But in my experience, even when they were born, they felt whenever my husband would come in a bad mood from work, because obviously I was with the kids, and like sometimes I would be stressed out, but I was always with the kids, and like I would take a nap when they would take a nap sometimes, and sometimes I couldn't. I'm just not a napper. But when I'm tired, I was taking them naps. Yeah. I was taking them naps. So I just feel like when he would come in a bad mood, Benjamin, he would cry so much. Like literally, he spoke ever since he was a baby. Born, I don't know, when he came back, he would say, I love you. He would say, I want mommy. I'm cold. Literally say those words. Like, you can think I'm crazy, but he would say those words. And whenever Saul would come in a bad mood, he would try to grab him to be like, hey, how are you? Like, just to bond with them. But he was crying so bad. Until he got in my arms, he stopped crying. And I was just thinking, I meditated on that. And I was like, how you come up to a person and how you're feeling should oftentimes be left outside before you deal with another thing. So I told Gustavo, I was like, you need to leave work at work.
Yes.
When you come home through those doors, I need to see my husband and father of these kids that are not in a bad mood because of what went on at work. Like, I understand. I was at work too, and sometimes I would come in a bad mood. But now we have kids, and they feel that. Like, I could talk to you about it, but right now we don't have time to be talking about that. We're busy with 2 newborns. So I think after we had that talk, he understood, and he started to come in a better mood. And little by little, Benjamin started liking him more and more. And I was like, see, like, you have to like leave that out there.
I just know kids really do pick up on emotional cues. I know Hugo was the one that would tell me that sometimes, leave work at work, because when you come home, because unfortunately Hugo would get that snip attitude from me when I would come home from work, because he would be like, I come home from work too, and I don't snap at you.
Yeah.
I don't respond at you ugly. I don't, cut you off. He's like, so I expect the same thing, because if we gonna be doing this, then it's gonna go both ways, and you're not gonna like it. And I started to realize, I think it was one day that he actually did that to me, and in that moment I was like, who are you talking to?
Hits you in the gut.
Yeah, like, but I can't be a hypocrite and be bad about it, because
he warned you.
Yeah, like, he doesn't hear. I remember that night he's like, you see what I mean? And I'm like,
oh,
okay.
He tested you.
Yeah, I was like, okay, but you didn't have to do all that, like.
You didn't have to show me who I am.
Yeah, but I realized then that, I mean, it is true, like, what happened, throughout the day, it's not your fault. And I need to better learn how to, structure myself and able to come into like a new environment.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I feel like with me and him, that's one thing that we're really good about is, now, is that we communicate a lot about it. Like, sometimes I'll come home and be like, I love you, but give me just a second. Like, just give me just a second, because it was one of them days. And, he'll go do his thing, and then he'll come back, whenever. And it was like, okay, like,
we're good now.
Yeah. And same thing with him. Like, I can read off his face sometimes, and he won't say nothing. He'll be like, he'll come in, like, hey, how are you? Love you, kind of thing. And then I can see, I'm like, okay, he needs,
Yeah.
And I'll learn to walk away, because I feel like also I know for me, I would tend to start arguments when I shouldn't. I pick the wrong times of the day to do it sometimes. And I've learned really quick that you cannot do that. Because sometimes they're not, like you said, they're not even mad at you about what you're saying. It's just you're adding something else to whatever they're
already going through.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh.
I don't like statements, and I used to do this a lot. This is why I don't like them. But I just say, you're always this, you're never doing this, or you're like, you always are acting this way whenever we have to talk about, like, assuming that they're always this person. But in reality, you could have triggered that person to act that way. And I think the better way of communicating that is just being like, hey, like, what is going on? Like, why does this make you feel this way? Because communicating, those can be triggering words.
Yeah.
Like, you always, and it's just assuming that that's just their character when it's not. Like, I just acted like that one time, but now that I know that it makes you mad, I'm going to continue to do it. And it's that pettiness and that human pettiness in us that makes us just continue doing things, like bringing up past conversations that we have that make us triggered, because we're like, why are you bringing that up? That was in the past. I thought we dealt with that, right? So it's just
forgiveness is not an easy, y'all.
Yeah,
watch it.
Watch it. It is good. There's things that I learned from Anna, and I was like, you're right. Because I was like, dang, like, but then I think we learn from each other.
I feel like we learn from everyone.
We do. Like, even kids.
Yes,
like, okay.
Girl, yes. And kids are very humbling too. My gosh.
Oh, I know. I'm with my 1-year-olds 24/7. Well, it's not now because we're here, but
girl,
basically.
I had a child one time, like, literally, I don't know. Oh, we were working on a worksheet, and I was telling them, you need to do this. And I kept telling them, and they're like, you already told me. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, you ain't wrong, but you have to say it that way either. Like, hey.
Hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna argue with my husband.
And then, girl, that's the thing. I'm like, it be reminding me about things, and I'm like, hey, maybe that is how you feel whenever I say. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, why?
And those are triggering moments because, like, you're like, dang, like, oftentimes we can act like that, and it can just make the other person feel bad.
Yes.
Like, we gotta check our tone, we gotta check our facial expressions, make sure that we're not triggering somebody when they're like altered and they feel or feeling a certain way. We're not triggering them even more. Like I said, bringing up past conversations. That used to be one of Gustavo and I's biggest conversation problems, was that we would bring up a lot of things that we would talk about in the past, and I was like, that's when we were dating. Now I feel like we dealt with so much dating that we didn't have to deal with so much whenever we got married.
I feel like we did it
backwards.
Yeah, I mean, because we really didn't date very long. It was very short period. So I feel like the first to 6 years, it was a lot of, I want to say bickering, but it was a lot of learning each other. Because I do feel like our 7th year, we kind of did see that calmness kind of come through. And it was like, okay, like, you know, we're starting to get at that point where, you know, okay. I mean, we still had little trips here and there, but we started to see how things worked. And it also helped learning. It was also helpful learning from other people and seeing, like, you know, other marriages as well. Because we started to learn, like, just by watching, we would observe certain things. And I'm like, oh, like, whenever we do that, I'm like, oh, I don't like that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, we need to work on that or something. Yeah. You know, it really does help. Like, it is why I say no shame to anybody's, you know, dirty work, because I'm gonna be honest, sometimes watching you go through those steps kind of makes me realize, oh, okay, so that is what I look like. That is not a good look. Like, I need to fix it. Yeah. And it's why I'm like, no shame, because we all been there. We've all at one point of our life have gone through some of these steps or emotions. Sometimes,
like I was telling my husband, I was like, I don't judge any mom no more. I don't judge any marriage no more. Anything that I'm going through now, like I feel like I don't even judge people that are old and how they parent. Like, you know how there's old school parenting that I used to judge so harshly. So I'm like, you cannot. Well, the bad, old school, because old school sometimes it can be seen as a good thing, but there's some old discipline. Old school disciplining, and how they just let their kids like run them basically. Yeah. And I'm just like, why? And why are you not telling your kids straight up what you expect of them and what they're going to do? And
why isn't there that communication?
When you put boundaries, when you put disciplinary actions, following through with them, right? Yeah. But girl, let me tell you something. I said, I'm not judging no one no more. I said, whenever I go through situations with my kids, I don't want to look back and be like, dang, I judged them so harshly. But now that I have kids, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I don't want my kids to throw tantrums. Like, I would say, I'm just going to pop them, you know, like they're going to listen to me, right? They're going to respect me, obey me. But there's going to be moments that, you know, the kids are not going to listen and they're going to go their separate way. And I just turned my judgment into, okay, well, how can I be a better mother? How can I take those things from other people and apply that to my life so that I can avoid those situations? Because I can see how hurtful it can be when a kid is disrespectful or is just doing things that their mom doesn't want them to do.
Yeah, and I always tell about my husband, because we sit there and talk about all this stuff, especially because I see it, because I get to see a lot of different
firsthand,
you know, parenting. Yeah, I get to see it and how it's functioning, because your child is a mirror image of your home.
Oh yeah.
And I tell him, I'm like,
how they allow their kids to be bossing them around, and I'm like,
I get to see all of that, and I tell my husband sometimes, I'm like, I question a lot of things, but you know, I get to thinking sometimes, I'm like, well, I wonder how your child was, you know, your childhood was when you were growing up. I wonder, you know, especially sometimes I feel even more for like single parents. I've always had a soft spot for single parents, because if with two, it'd be driving you crazy. I can't imagine having to do it alone. And then sometimes I'm like, dang, like I feel for you, because I'm pretty sure I can see where you're trying, but I know that you're lacking that other insight where, you know, someone can tell you, be like, why don't we try this instead of what you're doing?
Yeah. And in my experience, I feel like there's different personalities to different kids, and you have to parent. Your parenting style has to become revamped
Yes.
Because with one child you can't talk to them a certain way, and with the other one you can.
Girl.
Because with Benjamin, that boy has to be popped on the hand. Because if you don't pop him and or turn him, steer him away, he will continue to do what you told him not to do. But Garrett, you tell him, that's what I told you not to get that. He will leave it, turn around, go play with something else. So
Different
I'm just, yeah, it's just a learning curve, and I'm glad that I got 2 in 1, so I can learn different parenting styles. Because I feel like also I have to. Oh, I'm sorry. I got distracted by a fly. Girl,
You scared me. I thought someone hit you. I was like, wait,
distracted by a fly. It was just a fly. Anyway, don't put this in the video.
Okay, I'll
Cut it out.
okay.
What was I gonna say? There's different parenting styles. Oh, with Benjamin, I feel like I had to be more encouraging.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can do this. Come on, come on. But with Garrett, he's like, oh, I got this. I tried it once.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go ahead. Let's do it again. Let's go ahead. I can do it. I can do it, Mama. I can do it.
Oh my gosh. Girl, teaching is the same way. You have like 14, 18, 24 different, personalities coming at you all at once. And it'd be funny sometimes because I sometimes feel bad because I feel like I'm a little softer with a certain child than what I am with another one.
You kind of have to be.
And then I realized I'm like, well, I can't be soft with you because you don't listen. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's funny because...
And they think that you're giving them more attention just because you're being sweeter.
And then I still I was telling Hugo one day, I'm like, this is going to sound bad, babe. I said, but today I just have this one child that it does not matter if they cry. I have to look away and ignore them. Because if I look at them while they're crying, they'll keep doing it the entire day. Yeah, like it's an attention seek. Like there's nothing wrong with them.
It's like putting them to bed. When you put them to bed, you just have to lay them there, turn around, don't even look at them.
Yeah.
Because if you continue to go in there, lay them back down, that's just restarting their cycle, and they cannot do it themselves.
Yes.
They're learning how to regulate, and so whenever you just leave them there, then they try to figure out themselves. They're like, oh, how can I put myself to sleep? I watch my boys. Yeah. I literally observe them like crazy. I think I'm a teacher already. But I literally observe them, and I'm like, they're rocking back and forth on the all fours. They're like, they're tossing and turning. They'll get up, and then they will lay back down. I watch them, and whenever I go and intervene is whenever they're throwing the biggest, well, not really tantrum, but they're crying a lot, or they're calling for me.
They're trying to see where, how far they have to take it. Well, it's the same thing I told Hugo, with this child, it's the same thing. I will communicate to the child, and I would be like, such and such, I hear that you're crying. There's nothing wrong with you. You are fine. Go clean your face in the bathroom.
I was reading on that because I would do that to my kids too. I'd be like, you're fine. But you know what? That I was reading on it, and it works whenever, well, my kids, right? Because I don't know.
Girl, mine are mine are verbal. So it's not they can't tell me. Yeah. But mine is more of because I wanted that toy and I want it now.
Yeah. And I learned something. To communicate with a child, I think it's important for them to understand and regulate their emotions is for you to understand, like what you said. I understand that you're upset about such and such thing, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to do this instead. Yeah. And if they don't accept that, then just let them be, right? And then continue. Yeah, don't give them that eye contact, right?
Yeah, and that's literally I tell you, sometimes I hate doing that because they're crying and I want to go and be like, oh my God, my baby, but then I'm like, I can't do that with you. Yeah, because you take advantage.
But also saying you're fine, it's like if I told you, oh, you're fine, stop crying, get over it. Wow. And that's that how you communicate with anybody. So I learned that whenever you communicate with the child, you'd be like, you just understand where they're coming from, but be like, we're not going to do that right now. Because when you say I'm fine, it doesn't allow them to regulate their emotions, and you put an emotion on them or you just brush off their emotions.
Yeah. No, I know with this child we usually we have like I have to be like, you're fine, go to the bathroom, clean yourself off, come back, and then you can tell me what happened. Because they really like it's just which I've talked to their parents too, and they're like, no, you have to do this. Like this is what we do at home too. You got to do it here too.
Does it work with them though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does. Like to them, like literally, they'll turn around and be like, ugh, whatever. And I'm like, you over here making me feel bad because I feel like I'm a horrible person for not picking you up in that moment. But
the kids know how to manipulate.
Yes, I'm like, don't do that. But I always tell you, I'm like, I always hate that because I always feel like, I'm like, oh, my baby's right. Like, I don't
and you know what that is also? It's because oftentimes as mothers, we give in. We give in and we give in once and the kid thinks they can do it again.
That's what their mom was telling me. They're like, no, if you give in this once, it's over for the rest of the year. That's what she literally said to me at the beginning of the year. And I was
so true. You have to be so direct with the kids and be what's that word? Consistent with what you're saying. Yeah. Because if your actions don't match what you said, then they're like, oh well, mama just says that, but it's not gonna happen. And well, with my kids, I'm learning. And if anyone has any more tips, tricks, like please help me because my kids are only growing older, and where they have more emotions, where they have more ways of.
But yeah, as you see, communication is key. Even for the little ones, communication is key for everyone. I just feel like communicating. For you to be able to have that like healthy communication is that you have to remember some steps, remembering that your tone of voice, like we said, making sure that when you are trying to communicate something, you're not doing it with anger, you're not doing it with ugliness, you're doing it with respect. Because one of the biggest things that can set something off is when someone feels disrespected. And never do it with, saying, like, you make you
assumptions.
Yeah, like assuming like someone you don't care about me. Like no, state what you're feeling. State like if you feel that someone doesn't care about you, you just be like, you make me feel as if I'm not important. Because that changes it.
Of what you're saying. I think that's very important because oftentimes we can point fingers and assume or make that other person feel bad because they're acting the way that they're acting. But oftentimes, we don't know how to approach something that makes us feel a certain way. And that's the trigger. So learning how not to communicate learning to communicate without triggering is really looking at that person, evaluating that person, and stating how you feel clearly, but also asking, is this a good time to talk? Yeah. Like, Anna, can I talk to you? Like, is this a good time?
Yeah.
I hear my husband talk on, like, when he does his calls, he'll be like, and it's so crazy because it really connects him to the people that he's talking to when he says, hey, so and such, did I catch you at a good time? Forgive me if not. And they say yes or no. Oftentimes that brings an open door. Yes. To be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's a good time. Go ahead.
Or even like, I know some of my parents sometimes when they need to get in touch with me, that's one of the things I have to be like, hey, can we talk? Is this a good time? Or can you let me know when your availability is? And from the person that is receiving that message, it kind of like oh, thank you for considering that.
How I might be
like my time might be busy, or maybe this time might not be right. Like it's really considerate of that person, and it really will change the trajectory of that conversation.
Yeah, it will, because I feel like it comes from an understanding point of you or perspective, because it's like if I come to you and I'm like, and I need to talk to you right now.
Like,
excuse
girl, what you want? And I'm like, and also like knowing when.
Yeah.
I always tell people like, well, I know Hugo también, like we talk about this, like, don't come at me whenever we're in a room full of people.
Yeah.
Wait till we're alone and we're by ourselves, because no one else needs to know, what we're
you're
about.
Going through.
Or like, even like with your coworker, out of the respect for that person, you don't come at them when you're in front of your peers, because that person might feel attacked.
Yeah.
Or what you say might embarrass them.
Or make them feel uncomfortable too. And I also think that it's important to, when you are about to start a hard conversation, I think it's important to not react in that moment and meditate. Meditate on it, which sometimes we don't do when we're triggered. It's very hard, but I oftentimes try to meditate on something before I confront it, because I'm like, what if I am the problem here? You know what I mean? Like,
because sometimes we are.
Yeah, and I think about it and I'm like, I think it's important to self-reflect in that situation. And I sometimes replay the conversation in my mind, not to like come up with ways that I can make that person feel worse, but ways that we can diminish this problem, because I'm just like, maybe there was a misunderstanding somewhere. And that's the biggest thing I feel, is that's why we have those triggering moments, because there's a misunderstanding of how someone relays a message.
Also, like, making sure that if you're going to have a conversation where the communication is going to be long, and maybe it is a hard conversation, make sure you have food.
Yeah.
One thing that I did learn.
Go without food. Like, you don't talk to me when I haven't eaten.
No, girl.
Last time we sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I remember last time whenever I was like, and I'm hungry, I can't even concentrate. I don't even know if y'all noticed, but we were recording and I was like, I can't concentrate. I'm hungry. And then let's go eat instead.
Yes. It's because you can't think about anything. It's just, dang, I'm ready to go. Like, what time are we going to finish? But I'm ready to go. Like, I honestly am not hearing what you're saying at one point.
Right.
Like, I'm like, okay,
thinking
whatever.
About what I want to eat.
But I've noticed, especially my job specifically, there's one job that I do have that when they're about to touch on a really harsh subject, or it's something that needs to be handled and we're not going to like it the way that it's going to go, they always bribe us with food. I always call it a bribe. But in reality, it kind of
softens.
Yeah, like it really does, because in the moment, I have already ate, I'm, maybe, eating my little snack and you're talking. Yes, I'm a feeling emotion, but it's not as aggressive as it would have been whenever I'm hungry. Because then I'm kind of like, I don't care. I just want to go get food, like whatever.
Or like conversations that don't make sense having in front of everyone. Like, it's just like, you could have this in a private, like, there's things that people bring up in a setting where it's
like, this could have been an email or a text message. Thank you.
Or not even just that. But like,
that's how I feel about work.
I feel like that conversation needs to be brought to a specific person, and it's given.
Oh yeah.
Like, you shouldn't put other people's business out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's chill.
HR, when they come and talk to us about something, I'm like, we know who you're talking about. Go tell them.
Yeah.
Like, why are you telling us?
Exactly. I agree with that, because I'm just like, it makes me feel a certain way. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, you're making people, especially if there's a new person at your job, they're going to feel a type of way. Who are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to figure things out.
This even happens in friend groups. I have had friend groups where there is a friend that is throwing indirects about certain situations, and they'll state it with, let's not be the person that does, like, make someone, and I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, some of us know that the situation,
generalizing, right?
Like, don't do that, because you're being passive aggressive. Like, have the pants to go and tell the person that did this to you, and y'all have that conversation.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I've never liked that about someone. That's something that I'm always, and I'll catch people certain here and there, and I'll give you a glare like, why are you doing this?
Honestly, I've caught myself like I'm very direct. Like, I'm very like to the point. Like, I don't beat around the bush about anything. And there's people who come to me and they're like, try to beat around the bush about something, they're trying to tell me, and I'm just like, just tell me. Like, they would tell me like compliments or whatnot, and I'm just like, I know you're
You
gonna
better
tell
say
me
something.
something.
Just say it, yeah.
Yeah, just go to the point. I mean, that's just how I prefer to be talked to. Obviously, don't be disrespectful,
Yeah.
but
You-
just tell me straight up what's going on.
You
What we
can
need to talk
say what you
about.
feel without the disrespect. I always tell people
Yeah.
that. But no, I've had friends that do that, and I still remember there was this one time where I went up to someone and I said, I think this is a conversation that you need to have alone with that person. None of us need to know.
Yeah.
And I know that person in that moment looked at me because they were like, I'm
Okay.
like, and in my head, girl, in all honesty, I was ready to go. I was at that point where in Anna's famous words, my social battery was dead at that moment, and I was ready to go home.
Yeah.
It's late.
And we do
we're done.
have those moments too. I know when I was working, I was just 5 o'clock hit and I wanted
It's like,
to go
peace.
home. And I'm like, we had this schedule here when we still work in when I used to work in Smithfield, where we would go in a little later, like 15 minutes later, but we would leave 15 minutes later. So we were like the closer. And it would make me so mad that we would stay like 15 minutes over 5 o'clock. And I'm just like, can I just go home, please? Especially when I was pregnant.
Well, no, girl, I feel you.
But triggering comes in all shapes, forms, and colors.
Yes.
But I think it's important to really read that person, understand them, and clearly state what you feel. And I feel like how you say things is also like,
Yeah.
I've been in situations where I say things and it might just come off wrong, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't mean it that way, but it came out.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there too, where I've said something and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Thinking back at it now, I'm like,
I shouldn't have said it that way.
I could have
And
softened that.
Yeah, and it triggers somebody else because the way you come at them can oftentimes make them feel a way that they have been wounded in the past.
I'm like, don't go burning bridges that you don't need to burn. Okay, y'all understand this too. Not every communication that you will have with someone will end in a discussion of an agreement. You can agree to disagree because at the end of the day, we're all our own person and we all have our own point of view.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that. I feel like this world would do so much better if they understood to respect a person's point of view. Like, yes, you might feel very strong about this, and you know what? Good for you. Stand for what you believe in, stand for what you know, what you want to do, but also respect the fact that I might not think that way. I might feel a different type of way, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that we're enemies. It just means, oh, that's just something that we don't agree, and that is okay.
Yeah. And then I just know that oftentimes we see just how a person reacts or how they handle a situation, but oftentimes we don't take the time to acknowledge what they're feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I think it's because we already have an emotion within us and we act a certain way towards that person or towards a situation. I feel like for me, it's whenever I have a problem, it's more towards the situation, not the person, because I know, for one, I see the potential and I know the person you can be and how you've been around me. I'm just more in shock than anything of how you're acting or of what you said. Because I know that I think we've talked in the past of how you can oftentimes be prejudged. How you say it? Prejudice, or judge a person before you get to know them.
Judge
Anyway, yes. And so I think that's another thing that can make us be triggered by what they say, because I think it's like, oh, well, I don't like that person anyway because of what you think you know, but you don't really know that person.
Yeah.
Or they may have acted a certain way at one point, and you're just kind of like, yeah, I never want to be around that person. Like judging them before you even get to know them.
Yeah. Also know when you're communicating, the way that you react also, unfortunately, it states the character that you have.
Yeah.
And it can make you a very unapproachable or approachable person, because I've had friends that I've known for years. When there is an issue, I think about it because I already know your type of approach and I don't like it.
And if it's even worse.
Yes, like I'm like, I do not want to do this. I'm done. And I shut down because
there's people who are understanding, there's people who are just
and
their way of the highway.
Sometimes people, like, I've heard, certain people say and be like, I don't understand why people don't. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I mean, in the past when we've had these situations come up, you have not been an approachable person. So I cannot blame that we don't want to come up to you. Like, we tend to stay away.
And I think those are the triggering moments. Whenever maybe you feel like you shut down whenever you're like someone approaches you, or you feel like it's not even worth it, or stuff like that. Like, you just feel triggered within that makes you just not want to even handle that situation in that moment. And that's why I try to think about it before I
because it even happens in your relationships. Because I know me and Hugo, we sit there and talk about it, and I've heard him say sometimes, he's like, I hate having this conversation with you because I already know how you feel about it. And I get mad because I'm like, you don't communicate with me. And then I'm like, well, and you've already told me I make you feel bad about this. So why are you
so I keep bringing it up?
And I get it. So then, sometimes I'm like, okay, like I will be like, hey, I'm sorry that I've made you feel,
a certain way.
Let's try this again, and I make sure I'm telling myself, you need to calm down. You need to listen. Because one of the most important things about communicating is listening. And
that's half of it.
You don't need to respond immediately. Sometimes you might have to go to bed with it and think about it. Like, sometimes some communication, some responses do not need to happen instantly. The first thing that comes to your mind does not need to come out of your mouth. You need to think about it. Because that's where we make the biggest mistake, is that we always say the first thing that's on our mind.
For sure. And I was telling my husband that I've been going through, no, I think I've passed it. Yeah. I think I passed it, but I was going through a moment where everything I heard, everything I saw, it was like, why are they doing that? Or why are they talking about me? Like, it was just an emotion within me. Like, my first trimester, it was just terrible. Like, I was like, I've never felt this way. I've never had trouble with how I felt or thought that people were talking about me, or like, it was just like a paranoia, like every single second. Not that I talked about it, but I just felt this emotion within me that I was like, this is not a good position to be. Like, I never understood why people cared about or thought about that everybody's looking at them, or that everybody's talking about them. And I never understood that until I went through it. And I was like, it had to be this pregnancy that made me feel this way. And I'm like, baby, I don't know what you're feeling inside my belly, but you gotta lighten it up, because it's like how mom is feeling is not good. So I told him, I was like, this is how I'm feeling. He's like, well, don't let it get to your head. And I was like, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm feeling this, not that I want to feel it, but I'm feeling this thing where I always had to speak my mind. And I'm like, bro, like, not everything that I feel in my mind doesn't have to come out my mouth. And so, like, I was like, okay, you know what? I gotta put an end to this. So I was like, this is it.
And that's the thing. Like, it takes a moment of reflection to come to that realization.
But not only that, I was tired. Like, I was more exhausted. I felt like I couldn't even care for my kids. Like, I was telling my husband constantly, I know he got annoyed, but he was so sweet to even do it. But I would tell him, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me. I'm so tired. Like, I can't even handle my own emotions right now. So he would help me so much. He helped me through that moment, and I'm grateful for him. And I will always remember that he helped me through that.
And see, I feel like it's that communication that y'all have with each other. Because, like, like when you stated, I'm like, oh, you said what you were feeling, and he responded by, okay, maybe I need to take this off her plate.
Yeah, he definitely is amazing.
And I mean, that is like, I'm like, kudos to y'all, like, honestly, because not a lot of relationships do that. Instead of, communicating, what's going on, rather you belittle what they're feeling, or you just, you're not understanding it, you're left in the dark, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and I feel like he said, don't let it get to your head, just because I shouldn't, right? And I know that. I know that for a fact, but I was like, yeah, but it does.
Yeah.
Like, so how can I like change this? And I know talking to God is very important. So
Yes.
I was telling our mentors, I was like, I feel like I don't even have the strength to even do that. Like I was communicating that because I was like, I don't. Oftentimes, I know that people can see just what's outside, like how you are not there constantly, or you're not doing what they expect of you, or how you were at one point. They only see that, but they don't really know what's going
Yeah.
on within you. And I was telling them, I was like, I'm just tired, and I was like, I cannot. I feel like I can't even pray. I feel like I can't even worship. Like I was telling them that, and I was like, I need y'all's help because I was like, this is terrible feeling. And they were understanding, and even gave us pointers on how we can overcome it. I did appreciate that, and I was like, man, like I'm sorry, like because I could have criticized y'all too, but getting past that and making sense of why I was feeling that way in that moment was because I was overstimulated, I was overtired, I was exhausted, and it made me feel certain ways that I maybe shouldn't have. So communication, I think, goes a long way.
Yes, in a very, very tremendous way.
Yeah, and I think that like I'm just like, dang, I'm so sorry, Lord, for even thinking or saying many things, and I'm just like, Lord, please help me.
Yeah, but y'all just remember, communication is the big key. How you communicate, how you establish it, how you lay it out is also groundwork to do. It's not a perfect journey, but you're learning with experience.
Right.
So you don't get it right the first time, it's okay. Try again. That's something that you have to learn, even in your marriage and whatever relationship you have. Yeah, it didn't work this time, but let's try this again.
Yeah.
But you need to communicate, especially what you're feeling, because like I said, people are not mind readers. But we have come to the end of our episode.
Until next time here on Sip and Chat.
Follow, subscribe, comment, and
share.
Yeah, share us, please.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.